What is going on? Back for another episode of Media Captain Podcast. Jason Parks.
And Stephanie Parks. We are back for another week. We are excited to be here. Just a reminder, if you haven't been around, we are talking about the 11 items in the marketing world that we have found the most interesting over the last couple of weeks. So what do you think? Let's dive in.
Well, before we dive in, we go through 11 marketing items. We work with 100 plus clients, and we pinpoint the 11 most important items. I want you to stay around for number 7 because we've talked to over 10 business owners with revenue ranging from $1 to $10 million about how they're incorporating AI into their business. And we're going to share some insights from those conversations. So you'll definitely want to stay around for that. But number 1, what I want to lead off with is Claude incorporating invisible watermarks on content generated from Claude. This is causing an uproar in the online landscape because everybody is concerned that their content is going to get detected as AI generated from Claude. Here's my perspective. This is not a big deal. I am in the SEO world day in and day out. We already know if content is AI generated based off of a tool like originality.ai. And I think when people hear the word watermarked, they are concerned that it's going to look like an image where there's this logo from Claude. It is an invisible watermark. It's more code-based. So to me, it's a nothing burger. This already exists with tools like Originality. So I don't think you have anything to be that concerned over. Steph, what do you think?
You threw out the term nothing burger like very nonchalantly, and I liked how you incorporated that. But in terms of the watermark, kind of our best practice and what we always say is that you want your content to be human written and have personality and sound like it was written by a person. There was a stat released by, I think it was at SEMrush a few weeks ago or a couple months ago, and it said that 80% of content on the first page of Google is human written. So I think that right there says it all. That is what Google is looking for, human written content. So watermark or not, that's what the best practice is.
And I think it's a lot of people that might be students. I'm trying, who are nervous where maybe they're using AI content and they're going to get caught on a paper or a midterm or something like that. But smart teachers would already be using tools like Originality. So again, I don't think it's a big deal. Going back to nothing burger, it's been in my vocabulary for a while. I don't feel like I've been able to incorporate it into the public domain. So it felt natural.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that Jason says that anytime I hear them, they just make me laugh. And he says, that's dope a lot. Just every time I hear it, which is once a day probably.
Well, I remember back in 10 years ago, I had an intern and I was young at the time. I was in my late 20s and I used dope and he was like, that's dated. So it's very dated now.
Yeah, but I
still a part of my vocabulary.
I like it when you use it. So it just brings a smile to my face.
Good.
Okay, moving on to number 2. Optimizing your personal LinkedIn profile is becoming increasingly important. AI engines are pulling in content from LinkedIn quite a lot. And this is something that probably you wouldn't think of as important as part of your SEO and your AI strategy, but it is becoming more and more important. So there are best practices with how you optimize your headline, your bio, your about. There are articles that you can write on LinkedIn, which are becoming more and more important. So just an easy tip, and we actually wrote a blog on this on the Media Captain site all about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So there's the full details there if you're interested, but something really easy that you can do to help increase your AI visibility is optimizing your personal LinkedIn profile. It's interesting that it's the personal profile and not the business profile, but that is what's most important.
Yeah, I view it differently from an SEO strategy standpoint. I think when you're optimizing the personal profile. I think it is just getting like all of the right information. So Google and the AI search engines know that Jason Parks is the owner of the Media Captain, and he's also founded an e-commerce business, and it brings that all together. But to me, that is just like, optimizing the profile takes an hour, but what you can be doing on more of a consistent basis is creating articles.
Yep.
Because LinkedIn has such a high authority, it's just getting pulled into these AI search engines. So a lot of people's blog, if you have a low authority score blog, you could be moving over to LinkedIn and getting more exposure. And we've just been seeing more and more chatter that people are getting great visibility with that tactic.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to SEMrush again and a stat that they released, which is that LinkedIn ranks number 2 in terms of AI citations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the number 2 source that AI is pulling from for information. So I think like Reddit was number 1, and there's a lot of different sources that are getting pulled in there. I wouldn't have thought LinkedIn would be a top one, but it is. So optimizing your profile is something easy that you can do.
You've done this for a few clients.
Yeah.
Just walk through like what you did and what the strategy was behind it.
Yeah. So honestly, you said it takes an hour. It actually doesn't even take that long. First thing you do, make sure you have a good headshot and make sure you have a banner image. That's like easy LinkedIn profile optimization 101. There are certain qualifications on your headline. So it should say your name. It should say where you work and your title. It should say what your differentiator is and like what your services are that you offer. All in the however many characters it is. And I have the exact formula in the blog that we wrote. Then it goes into the About You section. And what AI wants to see is something that's not like huge, dense paragraphs, but broken up into just, 1 or 2 sentences at a time, very easily digestible, not a lot of fluff, kind of like more hard hitting what you've done. Have you won awards? There's, things like that. Then there is a featured section, which gets hidden a lot on profiles or people don't use it at all. And essentially you can just pull in links. So you can link to your homepage or you can link to your website. You can link to the reviews for your company. You can link to media outlets that have written about you. You can link to, awards that you have won, anything like that you want to showcase. This is really high up on the profile. So it's important space. And then LinkedIn has like a list of skills that you can choose from. And I think in the past, people would just choose 100 skills because obviously they're great at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You should really narrow that list down to maybe 10, and you can pin 5 of them at the top of your profile. One of the most important things is just looking at your settings and making sure that your profile is actually visible to the public. And that's something like maybe AI can't even crawl your profile and you don't even know it. So that's a quick check that could make sure that you're visible.
And I'm assuming then once you have all of that, you want to make sure the information is consistent on the website where on your personal bio, because then if there's multiple sources aligning, the AI search engines are going to it's going to feel more valid.
Yeah, and you want to think about keywords also. So for example, if you're doing this for a personal injury law firm and you're doing it for all of their attorneys, there's different practice areas. And so you want to make sure across the employees of the firm, everybody talks about their different specialties in their headline and bio, hitting on those important keywords.
Wow, I learned a lot there. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Moving on to number 3, you can now add your social media profiles onto Google Search Console. So there is Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. You can add all of this information within Google Search Console. This is really cool because you're able to see how many impressions and how many clicks were generated from your social media content from search engines. So the way that marketing is moving is it's just multi-channel, it's more synergistic, and Google is putting much more emphasis in their search results on not just websites, but on social media channels. So this just gives you insight on how many people are coming to your content, your social content from search. This took me 2 minutes to do for the Media Captain. You go in on the drop down to Search Console, you add a property, and it was super easy. I added Instagram. It takes about 48 hours for the insight to pull in, but it was easy. I'm excited to really like dive into the data more, but it's something that every website owner should be doing that has active social channels.
Yeah, it's just interesting because last time on the pod we talked about the connector tools and how there are these tools, and kind of the future of marketing is just aggregating all of this data in one place, and it seems like this is another form of that kind of. So when you have all of these different channels that you are using for marketing, just being able to consolidate and see all of the data in one place and make decisions holistically, not on this channel is doing this channel is doing that, but you can really start to see the patterns in the bigger picture, and everything starts to just play better with each other, which is really nice because when you're doing your marketing, everything should be one holistic strategy working together. We talked about it, with like social media posts and email and social ads. And so I'm just seeing this trend towards everything having more synergy and working together in better unison.
Yeah, and we're thinking about this in the lens of like businesses, but for me, I get a lot of information for like when there's a game going on, and my favorite NHL team is the Blue Jackets, and I'm looking up, and they played the Sabres last night, for example. I'm looking up Blue Jackets Sabres highlights or Blue Jackets Sabres game insights. And so all of what's happening now in the search results is it's so much social. It's all of these Instagram videos of commentators, and there's Twitter feeds that are pulling in. And so, there's so much data behind that. And to be able to know, even if you're a media personality, of how many people are consuming your content and how much of it originated from Google is important. And it also just shows, I already said Google is moving in this direction, but clearly it's going to be a big emphasis with them.
That is a search that I would never in my life make. And it's funny. I woke up this morning and I was on my phone looking at my tabs in my browser, and my most recent tab was the New York Giants website. And as none of you probably know, like Jason is a huge Giants fan, and our dad is a huge Giants fan, and like I have no idea how that website got open on my browser.
It was probably a few years ago.
I was very surprised to see that. So not a search that I would be making.
Got it.
Okay, moving on to number 4. I want to talk about the importance of the questions in your contact form on your website and how they affect and can improve your sales process. Contact form on the site is pretty much what we're tracking for all of our clients in terms of conversions for all of the marketing channels. It's super important. This is where your leads are coming in. Yet the thought put into the questions actually on the contact form isn't really always given enough emphasis. You want to obviously collect name, you want to collect phone number, you want to collect email address. We recently on the Media Captain's contact form added revenue for a business. This gives us so much insight going into our sales process of what size the business is, who is best to handle it from a sales perspective on our team. And just adding this one question has made our entire sales process so much easier. Similarly, we have a third-party logistics company, and these leads would come in, and there would always, right off the bat, be follow-up questions that had to be asked. And I thought, it could save us a lot of time if these 5 questions that I have to follow up and ask every single time are just asked in the contact form. Made that change to our contact form, and it has just made that process so much more seamless, less back and forth, less time. So we have been auditing our clients' contact forms, asking them questions about, okay, once this information comes in, what's the next step? Is there something that you're always asking people? And can we just add that to your contact form to make the process better and save your intake team time?
I think there's so many businesses that just have first name, last name, email, and text to fill out. And maybe there used to be a thought, the easier the better, but there's so much spam now that comes through on a contact form. You want as much detailed information as possible. You don't want to scare somebody away, but also somebody's going to be much more qualified if they take the time to fill out thoughtful answers.
Yeah, and that's kind of the pushback that I've gotten from certain clients was, oh, we purposely kept our contact form very vague because we just want the leads to come in. We don't want to scare anybody off. And yes, there is a line that you can cross where you have way too many questions and people aren't going to fill them out and it's not necessary. But if there's something right off the bat that you're always needing to get it up front.
Yes. And moving on to marketing item number 5, this is going to segue off of contact forms. Be thinking about what you're doing after the contact form submission. So you get a lead, and a lot of people think that's just the marketing's role is to get the lead. But post-form submission is really important. There are, first off, are you having an automated email going off to the person, letting them know, hey, we got your information. We'll be in contact with you at this time. And also, just from an organizational standpoint, you want to see, yes, you got a lead, but what happens to that lead? So a platform that a lot of our clients use is Go High Level. And we also use CallRail for our clients, but let me focus on Go High Level. What happens is when a lead comes in here, it can go to different stages. So at first it is a lead, and then it could go to a prospect, and it could go to a customer, and you're able to move it throughout the entire journey. And this is synced to call tracking, and it's synced to your contact form. So these Facebook leads and these Google leads. All right, great, we got a lead. Was it junk? Was it spam? Was it qualified? Did it move along through the process? And then you could input revenue details to show, hey, this was a $10,000 website build that we did. Oh, this came in from a Google PPC campaign. All right, this justifies the return. So a lot of people with marketing, they get the lead and don't fully see it through. But a platform like Go High Level allows for you to get a much better gauge on ROI.
Yeah, my thought on this is that, everyone wants leads to come in. People are spending money on a marketing agency. They're spending money on Google, on social, wherever they're spending their marketing dollars. And if you are doing that and spending that money without having a great process in place to follow up with and nurture those leads, I mean, you're not throwing your money away, but you're not getting the most out of your money that you could. Similar to if you're running ads on Google, let's say, and you don't have a retargeting ad going, you're not making the most of the money that you're spending. So, and I've talked to a lot of clients that say, yeah, the leads coming in are great. We're just, we're not closing them. And the reason that they're not closing them is because they don't have this process in place. So, or the right platform in place to help them with that.
To me, the most interesting thing in talking to our clients is a lot of times when we get a CallRail or a Go High Level set up, they're excited about it, but they don't have the infrastructure internally to manage that. They don't have a proper intake person, or it's a solo business owner that is just like, hey, I'm a plumber. I'm in the field all day. I don't have time to do all of this. So to me, what's fascinating is the ones that succeed with this, they have somebody, and a lot of times it's an admin or receptionist, somebody answering the phone. It is such a great use of time to train somebody on your team to have ownership of intake.
Well, I also think something really simple is just responding quickly to people when they reach out, or having an option on your website where somebody can call you. A lot of times, if I'm looking for something, I'll fill out a contact form, but I want to talk to somebody now. If I'm like sitting at my desk and I'm looking something up, I don't want to have a call like in 3 days. I want to figure it out at the time that I'm thinking of it. So, people are looking up a marketing agency, for example, and if we don't get back to them quickly, they're just going to move down the list. Or maybe by the time we reach out, they're already going to have spoken to somebody. So just something as simple as like getting back to people quickly can make such a difference. You always tell that story of somebody reached out to you like over a weekend and you got back to them right away, and they ended up going with us, and they said, obviously they liked us, but
yeah, but I think, and they've been a client for 10 years. So I think there's a difference here between like, yes, you need to be responsive, but there's a whole nother level of,
of course.
You need somebody to be able to manage that intake process.
Of course, but both of those are important. Okay, so we just saved $15,000 a year by implementing our own AI reporting tool. And this is a pretty big win for us, and I'm just going to go into what we did. So for many years, we've been using Dash This as our real-time report for our clients. And only great things to say about Dash This. Our clients loved it. It's worked really well for us over the years. But we were actually able to tap into the API of everything that we use, Google Ads, Google Analytics, CallRail, Meta, everything, and build our own reporting platform. It works amazing. It looks really great. Our clients love it. It syncs into our entire ecosystem. So this is just like a really big AI win for us that I'm excited about, or we're excited about, and we wanted to share.
Yeah, we've invested a lot in AI, and we knew the investment was going to be in the first half of the year, and there'd hopefully be some cost savings in the second half of the year and beyond, and this is definitely one. And I think what the most important part of this is that it's not only the reporting dashboard, it is the fact that we own all of the data.
Yeah.
And we're able to, we have this sync to a connector tool with Claude. So it's just like learning all of our data, getting smarter. We're able to have conversations with Claude about it. And it's cost savings, and it's making us more smarter with our decisions. So we are excited about that.
And when you teased number 7, which we're getting to number 7 now, in my mind, I was like, that was not number 7, but it was, in fact. You were right.
It was, and it was a guess.
Good job. Lucky number 7.
We spoke to 10 business owners in the revenue range of $1 million to $10 million about how they are incorporating AI into their businesses. We didn't have a motive going into the call. We just wanted to learn. And what we found is very interesting. From everyone that we spoke with, all of their AI developments have been very customized based off of their business. Very unique, not out of the box, really system-based. We learned that so far they haven't really saved time, and they haven't cut staff. We were curious, are you saving time with this? Are you saving on payroll? In both instances, the answer was we are getting more intelligent. We are getting better output, but we're not saving time. We're not cutting any headcount. So long story short, from these conversations, it was just very interesting, where everybody thinks that they're getting more knowledgeable, they're getting smarter. And, ultimately, I think that intelligent people are able to really leverage AI and run with it. But I found, and you were on some of these conversations. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it wasn't only that they weren't saving time. In a lot of instances, it sounded like they were actually spending more time, but the output was so much better that the time put in was worth it.
Mhm.
And I think what I've seen in just our AI tools that we've built, and ours are saving time, but for me personally, it's allowing me to focus more on strategy and high level thinking versus organization and just like putting things together for clients, which is what we used to spend a lot of time on. So even though we're saving time, our time is being spent a lot more wisely. And as everybody else kind of echoed, it's being spent more intelligently. But it's just really interesting because you read all of these things about, all of the staff that's being cut and the time that's being saved. And granted, we have a small sample size of business owners that we spoke to, but the consensus is right now, time has not been saved.
What's interesting, though, is that for us on the agency side, in the first half of 2026, like we weren't really saving time. Over the past 2 months, though, our investment in AI has saved time.
Yeah.
And we are reaping the benefits of that. So it could have been a small, I know there are a lot of businesses that are saving a lot of time on like processes and things like that. We were speaking to lawyers, e-commerce businesses, a small sample size, but we're finally starting to see that. And it takes a lot of infrastructure and development to get to that point.
Yeah, it was also impressive hearing what a lot of these people who did not have a development background were able to build on their own. And granted, a lot of the people that we spoke to were very technologically savvy. But it's just, it's kind of crazy what you do if you spend the time kind of ironing out your process and putting it into steps that can, be made better.
And I think that summarizes it. All of these businesses, it seems like their internal processes have just gotten tighter, more improved, more robust. So,
yeah. Well, moving on to number 8, I read an article that LinkedIn is unveiling a new feature that allows people to call out posts that they feel are AI slop. In the 3 buttons on any post, you can click on it, and similar to like the report spam button, you're going to be able to click something that says that a post is AI slop, which is going to let LinkedIn know that they shouldn't be serving that content as much. It's helping them get smarter. I personally was not able to find that yet and use it myself. But it seems like this is something that's unveiling. And I think that, as we've talked about, the trend is that people want to see authentic personality behind these posts, not AI generated content that's just spitting out content to get more content. People know what's AI slop and what's real good authentic content. And now some of these social channels are actually giving you a way to call that out. And it's different than spam, which is also interesting. So same how you would call out something that's spam, you can now call out AI slop.
I think LinkedIn has the most slop out there.
Yeah,
so
agree.
It's I like that they're doing it.
Yeah.
And even when I was creating a Instagram ad, it asked me at the end, like, was this generated from AI? Because they just want they want people to know. I mean, I think it's obvious in many instances.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn has a problem with it. So I think it will be a really good feature. But yeah, pretty aggressive on the name of just calling it what it is, AI slop.
I like it. I was surprised when I saw that, actually. I don't know why, but it surprised me. And last pod, Jason said that he bookmarked all the posts on social media that he liked and wanted to use for the podcast. So that was my first bookmark that I went back to.
And we've referenced the previous podcast before. So hopefully when you're listening to this and we're giving you teases, every 2 weeks we're going over 11 different marketing items. So If you're liking this podcast, go back to the previous one and you'll start to...
Still relevant.
Still relevant. All right, moving on to number 9. You must be putting money behind all of your organic content. This is just a lesson that we've learned from a social media standpoint. If you're not putting money behind your organic content, it's just kind of a waste. Instagram doesn't prioritize organic content, and so we have seen it firsthand for ourselves. We struggled on our Instagram account, and the second we had a strategy in place where we were like, all right, we're going to put money behind each post and we're going to be strategic about it, our engagement has skyrocketed. I think in the past month, we've gotten over 600 followers on Instagram. We've had over 100,000 views. And, we're putting out more content, more video content, but we're putting money behind each piece of content. So it's just more strategic. It's what you have to do in 2026. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think that there's so much to be done with it. People spend so much time on their social media content, and there's so much effort that is put into it. And if you're not putting money behind that, like you said, it's almost a waste. And it's really cool what we've seen and what we've been able to do where we're putting money behind it. We're getting this engagement, but then wait, you can even take it to another level and you can retarget and run ads to people who are engaging with your content. So not only are you getting that engagement and building that awareness, you can then use that and start, showing your ads to people who clearly were interested in the content that you were producing.
And there's just so many businesses that are spending so much time and effort on creating content, and they're getting 4 likes and 6 likes, and you get so much insight when you put money behind it because the advertising platform is telling you how many people shared and bookmarked and commented, and you can adjust the strategy based off of what's working. So everybody should be doing it.
Well, the other cool thing is that this is not a big budget that we're talking about. I mean, you can put even a few dollars, even $5 behind a piece of content, and that is going to give it something.
Some legs.
So yeah. So moving on. The reason that I didn't think that Jason was right on the number 7 is because number 7 was actually repeated twice. So for number 10, I'm going to put Jason on the spot, and I'm going to ask him how the 100-day, 100-video challenge is going.
Just to refresh your memory, I put it out there that our agency is going to create 100 videos over 100 days, and we're going to invest $10,000 behind all of the content, and the goal is to get enough clients to justify the investment. How's it going? I'd say it's going pretty well. I mean, we are taking these different clips from the podcast, we're promoting them. We're also doing like more iPhone content, and I went over the stats earlier. We have over 600 followers over the past month. We had a piece of content that I did that was about why I teased it with why your About Us page is killing your SEO. It got over 53,000 views, 1,900 bookmarks, and we got a couple hundred followers from that piece of content alone.
I'm feeling like major sibling rivalry, and every day I check to see if any of my posts have gone viral. They haven't. My day will come.
The day will come. So right now I feel like the podcast is structured good where we're getting the different video clips. We need to dive deep. Like the iPhone content tends to perform better when we're just, and last week we talked about meta edits and using edits, and we're using that for all of our social media content through the iPhone. So I want to get more going on that. But overall, we're off to a good start.
Good.
And I think I know you've doubted me. You thought it was just me, but we have Brody who's helping us edit these videos, and I was
the rules changed on me a little bit. I thought this was Jason creating a video every single day because it started with his one video that went viral.
Oh, and
And
I got a big ego, ladies and gentlemen, when that video went semi-viral.
so I thought, I was like, are you sure about this? But turns out he's not doing it alone.
I'm not doing it alone.
And number 11, as always, we're going to talk about what we're excited about, something on the personal level. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I just came back from Colorado with my family. We went to Rocky Mountain National Park. Love hiking, had a great time. When you have 2 kids and you're hiking up a mountain, you have to carry them and it's exhausting. And so I really enjoyed that trip. And this upcoming weekend, I'm going to a bachelor party in Vegas. And I think the last bachelor party I went to had to have been it's been like 6 or 7 years. I had a string where I was at a bachelor party 3 or 4 times a year for 4 or 5 years. But it's been a long break, so I'm looking forward to it. And I was joking with my wife last week. We rented a minivan in Colorado and had the whole family in there and my wife's family, and we packed everybody in. And next week I'll be in Vegas. So it's really a tale of 2 worlds.
Yeah. Wow. So
That's all wow. That's all I get.
yeah. True 2 worlds. I will not be hiking with my 3 kids. I have 2-year-old twin daughters and a 3-year-old son. We went to this birthday party at a farm the other day, and we took all 3 of them. And even that was they were all over the place. So hiking is not in our immediate future. But last week, I was also out of the office because my kids had off of school from daycare for the week, and we stayed home. We did a staycation, and it was honestly amazing. My kids are just getting to the age where we can do a lot of fun things with them. Not really a farm, I guess, but a lot of things. And for the first probably year and a half of our daughter's lives, we stayed home a lot, and now we're out and about. So I'm excited about being out in the world, and we've made some good friends with kids our kids' ages. So it's starting to get really fun with them.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed another episode of our 11 marketing item podcast, and we will